Well, hello and welcome to the Creation Science Hour. This is Kent Hovind in Pensacola, Florida, and my son Eric talking to you live here on the 18th of December. Almost time for Merry Christmas.
I'm ready for that.
I'm ready for that too. We've been having one of those every year for a long time.
It's great. Good time to get together with family, exchange gifts.
We know full well that Christmas is a pagan holiday. December 25th was the shortest day of the year, and the pagans celebrated that as a time to bring the sun back up, probably by sacrificing somebody they didn't like, The ruling party would sacrifice the non-ruling party. But anyway, but still, Jesus was born, probably not on Christmas Day, the day we celebrate his Christmas, but hey, celebrate his birthday one day of the year, and it's as good a day as any.
Might as well do it on Christmas.
All right. You're welcome to call in and be on the program if you'd like. We should be everything working today. If you want to call in our office at 850-479-DINO, 850-479-3466, or toll-free 877 if you're in the U.S., 877-479-DINO. And our secretaries will transfer the call, and Jonathan will transfer the call, and eventually it'll get here, and we'll get you on the air. Yeah. Or you can AOL instant message us.
Screen name is DRDINO, Dr. Dino Live.
Or you can just email, or snail mail, or air mail, or bring it by and hand it to us. We'll
care.
Take it. Dan, you can hand it to us, right? Somebody comes by? Sure, okay,
no problem. Good. So stop on by.
Stop on by. Dinosaur Adventure Land. Boy, are we having fun here at Dinosaur Adventure Land.
5800 North Palafox. This place absolutely rocks, I'll go ahead and tell you. We've got all kinds of things from science to prove, to show that the Earth is not millions of years old. All kinds of stuff to show that the Bible is true. Some things that actually verify what was said in God's Word in the Bible. Just some awesome stuff. Not to mention all the rides and activities.
Swings,
You're going to want to come by Dinosaur Adventureland. It is great.
The fact that it's in my backyard and we built it means nothing. It really is the most awesome place in the world.
Yeah, that's just.
If we didn't live here, I'd still go visit it all the time. It's a wonderful place, so come on down. See why 27,000 people have come in the first 2 years we've been open. Okay, what we're going to do is read a couple testimonies. Let's see, make a few announcements. I got too many windows open here on my computer. I read the testimonies, announcements. Southeast Creation Conference coming up September 17, 18, 19. You need to come. It's going to be great.
Cost is only going to be $50, I believe. Is that correct?
That includes, when you leave, you get to take home the binder with all of the audio tape of every session.
And that only costs us $55, so actually you're getting a really good deal here.
So we lose a little bit on every person, but we make up for it in volume.
That's how we count it.
Yeah. That's how we count it. Yeah.
It works.
Okay. A couple of testimonies here been sent to us. Let's see. This one from Maxine Spence. Dr. Hovind, I just finished reading your most recent edition of your e-newsletter. The people writing who disagree with you all sound so angry. Jeepers. Funny thing, I also noticed that they can't spell either. Draw your own conclusions. Okay.
We have a staff meeting every Wednesday morning, and we read some testimonies, and some good, some bad sometimes.
Yeah.
The bad ones, it really is funny. Those are the people that they can't spell. Like me, I have a real tough time spelling.
Well, it's not, what's his name? Vice President Quayle couldn't spell potato. I have a hard time with spelling also, by the way. I have spell check. Anyway.
Yeah.
But
F7. Bam.
F7.
You're good.
Amen. Praise God. I'm going to invent a pen with spell check. I'll be rich. I'll be rich.
Wow. Then we're going to be able to come to the conference for $25.
Well, we'll pay them to come.
Yeah.
If we get a pen with spell check. Okay. They sound so angry. I agree. They can't spell. Let's see. Why is it that people who believe in God, Jesus, and the fact that the universe and everything in it were divinely created incur such hatred? Well, Maxine, that's because people who believe in evolution, many people, don't want there to be a God telling them what to do.
That's exactly right.
That's why they believe in evolution. 2 Peter 3 says, in the last days there would be scoffers who would walk after their own lusts. The reason they scoff at the Bible is not because of their science, it's because of their sin.
The Bible clearly says that.
Yeah, I've encountered many people.
And that's exactly the case, too.
That's what it is.
They don't want a God to say, thou shalt and thou shalt not.
If I was going to invent a God, I would not invent one that says, you can't do these things that you like to do.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I'd invent one that says, hey, go do whatever you want. Oh, okay, good.
That's why evolution sounds so good to many people, because it allows them to do whatever they want. I think that's why the TV show, common cable television now is filthy because of that same idea. It comes from evolution. There is no God. There are no moral absolutes. We can do whatever we want, and so they're going to continue pushing the boundary that America was founded on, and the morals that we were founded on, and continue to push those because of this idea of evolution. Ultimately, is where it comes from.
Well, Romans chapter 1, you can see the digression. It starts off, they did not want to retain God in their knowledge, and then they digressed into worshiping the beasts, and then it's homosexuality. Read Romans chapter 1. But when you're done, then read Romans chapter 2, where he says, you are inexcusable if you judge these folks because you're doing the same thing. So lot of Christians, I think, get all upset about the evil in the world, and we should, but then we allow the same evil into our living room.
Yeah.
And pay for it to come in. Yeah. Okay. Okay, anyway, thank you, Maxine. Let's see, also, she writes here, the fact that God created the universe, they don't like that idea. I agree. If one chooses not to believe these things, that is his or her choice, but why get so angry at those who do believe? Well, Maxine, I heard a saying years ago, if the Lord's white sheep become dirty gray, all black sheep feel more comfortable.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
And it's true.
It makes Christians who are trying to do what God says make evil people look really bad, you know. Okay. Here's one of the frowny face. Rita puts that on there. That means this person is not happy.
And spell check.
And better spell check, right. Okay. Bye. Look at this. Anonymous.
Nobody. Anonymous. That's
the
another
atheist,
thing.
often anonymous. I wonder about that.
What is up with that?
We call that bark, 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 bark.
Chicken.
Okay. Chicken. Okay. We won't hurt you, okay? Honestly, we're fine.
We want to help.
We want to help.
Tell you
We're
the
here to
truth.
help.
Show you why you're wrong.
We have what you need. Here's one comments. Yes, I have a question. How are you people still alive? You seem too stupid to breathe.
Wow.
Boy, how do you answer a question like that? I'll tell you what. I'm not dumb enough to believe I came from a rock 4.6 billion years ago.
Man,
I'm not dumb enough to think my ancestors swung by their tail.
Anonymous, negative, doesn't have anything intelligent.
I do know how to write my name and spell it right, and I put it on my letters, by the way, and even my address is on there. I live right here on property, so that's my home address. Come on
by
over.
and say hello.
Come by and say hello. We got nothing there. Another anonymous one, but this one apparently with a smiley face. Okay. Dr. Hovind, I'm on the board at my child's school. That's why they want to be anonymous. Anybody supports the Lord and does what's right, and they're involved in public life, they want to be. You want to be careful that they don't let other people know who they are, because people try to find a way to fire them for some other reason.
They do.
Okay,
that's for sure.
Okay, Dr. Hovind, I'm on the board at the school, a child's school, as well as the technology administrator, which is a fancy way of saying I fix the computers. Jonathan, you could be the technology administrator.
Wow.
I don't fix the computers, though.
That's Pavel.
You don't fix it, Pavel.
Pavel is the technology administrator.
Joe, another airmail. Joe, do you have a title around here?
Not yet. I'm working.
Not yet. You're working on it. Okay. DJ, what's your title?
Tall, bearded man.
Tall.
I'll be the Sasquatch.
Sasquatch. How tall are you, Joe?
6'4".
6'4". Somebody 6'5" made it through the cave crawler last week.
Wow.
We have a three-dimensional maze, a cave crawler, part of Dinosaur Adventureland.
Hey, if you ever stop by, or if you're ever close, you got to come just for the cave crawler. Not to mention all the other cool stuff. It's a 6-foot long by 12 foot long or wide.
7 levels, three-dimensional, up, down, back, around,
and 12 feet tall. So you have the 6 foot by 12 foot by 12 foot room. Inside that room, you go through 200 feet of tunnel, crawling your way through, trying to get out.
You and I built. You designed it.
Yeah, I got to design it, and we built it, and it's pretty cool.
Real cool. Cave crawler. Okay, if you get stuck in there, we get the air compressor and a big wad of cotton, and it blows you right out the other end eventually. They come out a little bruised, but they're fine. Okay, here's I'm a fix the computers, technology administrator. That's where we got distracted. Let's see. I downloaded the entire 17-hour seminar and put it on the server at the school.
Wow.
Public school. Here we go. And then placed a desktop folder on all 78 computers that I maintain, including the headmaster and all the teachers. I then sat back and watched for a couple of weeks to see what would happen. The first contact was from our new science teacher, who asked for a projector attached to her computer so she could show this new program that just appeared on her computer over the weekend. A week later, I walked in the high school computer lab and saw 6 students watching the seminars on their desktops.
Wow.
Had a lot of fun watching the reactions. In Jesus' name, anonymous.
So they didn't force them to take it off right away, huh?
Well,
amen for that. We like
great.
that.
It's amazing how many Christian teachers are in the school, or Christian principals that are doing what they can. There are thousands of people who are teachers who just show my videotapes right in their class.
Got a couple of questions here before we get started. For the last couple programs, what we've been doing is we've been talking about the anti-Hovind websites, things people have to say against my dad, Dr. Hovind. And before we get to those and continue on with those, we've got a couple more things we want to talk about.
Jonathan, did you say Eric has his own anti-Eric website now?
No.
They have some bashing remarks about Eric on one, so.
Eric bashing. You made it, son.
I made it.
You made it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Couple of comments here, a couple of questions for you. Whoa, and another one just now brought.
Looks blank.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Are you sure that pre-flood man synthesized his vitamin C? Because Linus Pauling said if you only ate plant food, which is what pre-flood man ate, you'd be getting 40 times the RNA, and wouldn't that be beneficial enough?
Can't answer that question, don't know, but Bill Sardi can answer the question.
He is a nutrition genius.
BillSardi.com, S-A-R-D-I. Go to BillSardi.com and tell Bill you want to know about this. He thinks, I guess he's a nutrition researcher, and he's got a great article, stack of stuff on how that there's a gene in the human gene code that apparently is deactivated, mutated, doesn't work anymore, okay, which is the opposite of evolution. But it would allow the body to create its own vitamin C out of many things that you eat. He says, for instance, billy goats, their body creates 15,000 units of vitamin C every day from what they eat. So we're probably designed to have a whole lot more vitamin C. Linus Pauling was right that we need a lot more vitamin C than we get. But I can't answer the question, JMK1611.
So we need to eat billy goats in order to actually get that gene.
You're totally missing the point. But that's okay. Just read the next question.
Sorry about that. Okay. This is from GoCo. Hello, Dr. Hovind. My name is Mike. My question to you is, in one of your seminars you talked about churches being incorporated and how that's a bad thing. How do I go about finding out if the church I go to in this state is incorporated, and how can I help my church get out of it if they are?
Okay, I cover that on seminar, I think, 1B. Now, I have some slides in here. On the new seminar, the 2003, which Jonathan tells me is on the website. You can watch it, 2003 seminars now online. A little grainy, but it's free, okay? It beats nothing. And if you want to get it better quality, you can get the DVD or VHS from us. The idea of churches incorporating is really, just in the last 100 years, kind of a new thing and totally unnecessary, and I think a serious problem eventually. That's the noose, and they're getting to quietly slip the noose around your neck, and then eventually they will jerk it tight. That's what they've done in the communist countries. You know, you can have a church, sure, you just have to register it. The Internal Revenue Code, which is sitting right there, Internal Revenue Code 501c3 says a church can be exempt
from
taxes.
Right.
Well, keep reading. Internal Revenue Code 508 says the church is a tax exception.
They're not even under the tax laws.
Right. I ask people, are you exempt from Mexican taxes or are you accepted from Mexican taxes? Well, I guess I'm an exception. They don't apply. Okay.
Right.
So there's two websites that deal with the subject of churches incorporating. One is hushmoney.org, H-U-S-H, to keep churches quiet. See, once a church becomes a 501c3 corporation, they can't, 100 years ago, politicians were scared stiff of churches because the pastor would get up in the pulpit and say, Senator Jones is a whoremonger and don't you vote for him, you're not right with God. Well, they had to find a way to silence the churches because the Christian influence was incredible in politics. Not that politics couldn't use some more influence like that, but they became very nervous about the churches, and so the IRS came in and said, we will offer tax-exempt status. Well, why would you want that? You're already a tax exception.
Right. You have to apply for this exempt status, which you already have in the first place, according to 508.
Right.
So really is silly to get caught in that trap.
So as far as finding out if your church is, I can assure you probably 99.9% of the churches in America are. Most of them just ignorantly, they don't know.
That's just the way it's been. That's the way it's been
for a long time. Yeah. Our ministry here is not 501c3. We are a ministry of the Lord Jesus Christ, and if Internal Revenue has admitted that the church and their ancillary ministries is an exception to the code,
right?
Exception to the law. So we're not breaking any laws. They don't apply.
Exactly.
Okay. Hushmoney.org and mercyseat.net. Mercyseat.net and hushmoney.org are two websites you would want to get more information on that topic. It's not my field of expertise, but
thank you very much, GoCo, for that.
GoCo.
And all right, next one is from Green Lucky One. Okay, my name is Chris, and I'm having an email exchange with a skeptic who's arguing Christianity borrowed its concept of Satan from, I'm going to murder this, Zoroastrianism.
Zoroastrianism, okay, yes.
Zoroastrianism. Okay. How valid is this argument? Wants to know. Email debate with his friend wants to know, did Christianity borrow the concept of Satan from
the Zoroastrians? No, they did not. There's a good book about that, The Long War Against God, by Henry Morris. It's here. It should be in this section of the library.
We'll look for that, but what does he go through and say about that?
Henry Morris goes through all of the pagan religions. You know the book, it's gray and white cover. It might be over there by my desk. Never mind. We sell it on the website. It's black and white version now, new cover. You can go to drdino.com and go to our books and see The Long War Against God by Henry Morris. Excellent book. He goes through all of the pagan religions, including Zoroastrianism and and Taoism and all of them. and shows how that they are really based on the evolution philosophy. So Green Lucky One, you need to understand the history, or Chris here, the history of how we got the Bible, and the story of Satan is right in Genesis chapter 3. I mean, it's in the Bible. And Genesis chapter 3 was actually written by Adam. There are 10 different authors for Genesis. You cover that on your seminar now?
Yeah, excellent. Way to break it up. These are the generations of, separates the different authors.
Seminar part 7 on the videotape version we have. Apparently God wrote the first chapter and 4 verses of chapter 4 and gave it to Adam and said, here's how the creation took place. Adam wrote part of Genesis up through chapter 5, verse 1. Then he signed off, these are the generations of Adam. And then Noah wrote the next chapter and a half and signed off in Genesis 6, 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah's sons wrote part. Now, the fact of the matter is, Moses didn't actually edit it and put it in book form and start, passing it out until probably 1,000 years after the flood. By then, several other religions had already written down their legends. Okay, but they had an oral tradition passed on from grandpa to grandson over and over and over, and it had become pretty perverted, pretty distorted, maybe is a better word. And so Moses had the originals, it's the actual account. No, Christianity came up with Satan first because the Bible teaches, there is a Satan. There was.
And there is.
And there is, yeah.
And he's out to get you, no doubt about it.
Sure. Okay, next one.
Destroy your life. This is from CRS24AAU, screen name. What proof do you have of creation? Doc, what proof do we got of creation?
Well, I think the best proof of creation would be the impossibility of the contrary.
That's true.
Suppose we're looking at a swimming pool, and I say, hey, the water is only the top 2 feet is water, the rest is air underneath. You say, that's impossible. Water's heavier than air. It's impossible for it not to be water all the way to the bottom. I don't have to prove that there's water all the way to the bottom. There will be water all the way to the bottom. So it's impossible that, the impossibility of the contrary, it's impossible that there not be a creator, because everything is so complex.
Because you can't the contrary of...
The opposite is nobody made it.
Exactly.
Okay. Suppose I said these headphones right here, they are made of nothing but natural materials. Well, probably synthetics, made originally from natural materials. Okay. Well, and therefore, because it's all natural materials, nobody made it. Well, even something as simple as a pair of headphones, which really are not simple, or an ink pen or a pencil or anything, just because it's natural components, graphite and ink and wood and eraser, what does that prove? Still, this has evidence of design. Even a little eraser, this is evidence of design.
Right.
This is designed for a purpose. And everything we see in the universe shows evidence of design.
The Bible even states that, doesn't it? How once you see the creation...
Yeah, Romans chapter 1.
You are without an excuse. You have to believe in a creator. It doesn't take... that is in us. Once we see this creation, we know it had to be created.
Had to be.
Yeah.
One question I ask to the atheists when they ask a question like this, I'll say, do you have to light a candle to see the sun? You don't go outside and light a candle so you can see the sun. I mean, the sun's got plenty of light. The evidence for creation is we are it. We're in the middle of it. If you were walking through the woods and you found a painting hanging on a tree, you look around, no footprints, no evidence of human activity, but here's a painting hanging on a tree. What do you conclude?
Somebody painted it.
Somebody painted it. The painting is proof of the painter, whether you ever meet the painter or not. Okay? You're walking through the woods, you find a building. You look around, there are no footprints, there's no people, there's no evidence of anybody having ever been there, but here's a building.
You know right away.
There was
somebody
a building.
Built it. Yep, there's
okay, all you got to do is open your eyes, or your ears, or any of the senses of your body and say, wow, there is a creation, there must be a creator.
Just looking at the trees. If you were to go through the woods, or look outside, just looking at those trees automatically says...
a single cell of your body or anything. Everything is so complex.
No matter where you look.
Yeah. You might want to get the book by Michael Behe, Darwin's Black Box, for more on that.
Now, Michael Behe is not a creationist.
Well, he's not a young earth creationist.
Not a young earth creationist.
He's not an independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist.
Wow.
That's what I am.
Wow. That's a lot.
You didn't know all that, did you?
No, I do.
Okay.
But either way, he's got a lot of great material on the complex systems of this universe and how it could not have evolved.
He's got a whole chapter on describing the hair on a bacteria, which, by the way, we're getting a model of this week, tomorrow. Okay. After the break, stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Creation Science Hour. This is Eric Hovind along with Dr. Kent Hovind here, answering your questions on creation versus evolution and the Bible. How creation and the Bible all tied together. We've been going through the anti-Hovind websites and things that people have to say against Dr. Hovind, letting him defend himself. to you, and we wanted to continue on with one of those. If you do have any questions or comments, you can get a hold of us any way you'd like to. Our phone number, if you'd like to call into the show, is 850-479-3466, or toll free in the U.S., 877-479-3466. If you want to AOL instant message us, our screen name is Dr. Dino Live, DRDINO Live, and you can email or send your messages in, and we'll get those and read them here on the air. Got a lot of stuff to cover here, Doc. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. He's always been able to answer all the questions. First one, many websites. By the way, most of these websites that we have are linked together, and they just get the same information, rearranged a little bit, call it a new website. There's over 1,000 of them. We're trying not to repeat all of the questions and all the comments that they have, because most of them are the same. We're trying to go through the main points here, the main things that he has to refute here. All right. First topic of discussion that people have to say about out there is Hovind's bankruptcy decision.
Okay.
That happened back in 1996. Is that correct?
Somewhere around there, yeah. Okay.
Just tell us what happened there, if you would.
Okay. We were in a battle with the IRS because I believe everybody should obey the law, including the government. Okay?
Exactly.
I don't violate any laws regarding to taxes that I'm aware of. I'm actually very familiar with the tax laws. I have stacked that high of books down there on the subject. I want very badly to obey the law, and I want the government to do the same. Well, the IRS they came and stole my cars, when I was gone. Okay, came 7 in the morning, scared my wife half to death. I was gone preaching, and they stole the cars. So that's how they always do it. They come steal your stuff, and then now let's negotiate.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they came to get Joe Sweet's cars, and IRS came. They always come with the sheriff. It makes it look like the sheriff is on their side. Actually, the sheriff's there to make sure there's no fight. They're just there to keep the peace. And they said, Mr. Sweet, we're here to get your cars. He said, oh, okay. He went out, got in the second car, I believe, started it up, turned it sideways to block in the first car, and shut it off and put the keys in his pocket and rolled up the window and just sat there. The sheriff came over, knocked on the car, and said, Mr. Sweet, if you don't get out of that car, he said, you need to get out of the car. IRS is here. He said, officer, would you go ask them if they have a warrant? A warrant? Like a Fourth Amendment warrant? Like obey the Constitution, the law? Oh, what do you mean? So the sheriff goes over and says, you guys have a warrant? And he says, no, man, here's my badge. I'm from the IRS, Oh, here's my badge. I'm from Disneyland now. Do you have a warrant? Is the question.
Yeah.
Okay. They said, no, we don't have a warrant. So they go back up. Sheriff goes back over and says, Mr. Sweet, they don't have a warrant, but these guys are federal agents. They want your cars. He said, I don't care if they're from heaven. If they don't have a warrant, they're not getting my cars. Okay. So the IRS guys come over and knocked on the window. He rolled on the window. Yes, may I help you? And they said, if you don't get out of that car, we're going to leave. He said, okay. And they left. End of story. So
that's you mentioned Joe Sweet. Who is Joe Sweet?
He's a friend of mine in Tampa, Florida area that helps people with questions like this. Okay, this is not my field of expertise, but he's really, really knowledgeable on it. Anyway, they came, stole my cars when I wasn't here. All right, they would not have taken them. I would have gotten the car, blocked the drive, said, sorry, let me see your warrant. But my wife didn't know to ask that question. This is a typical, Gestapo technique that they use, and it generally works. Okay, they work on fear and intimidation, and they rely on people's ignorance of the law. So I called a friend of mine and said, hey, what do I do? They got my cars. It's going to be, they're going to drag this out for months. Meanwhile, I don't have a car. It's my wife's car and my car. He said, file bankruptcy. I said, why? He said, well, if you file bankruptcy, they have to return the equipment and then negotiate. Then let's discuss it. I said, oh, okay. So I had never done anything in the legal system in my life. I didn't know where the courthouse was. Okay, I've lived here for 15 years, up till about, 6 years ago. Didn't even know where it was. Okay, I don't get in trouble. I try to obey the law.
Used to get in trouble.
I've had a few speeding tickets over the years, but that's, you've had a couple too, haven't you?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But no, I mean, honestly, they never had any trouble. And so I filed bankruptcy, and I made a few mistakes in the filing. Okay, I didn't fill out the papers right and do some things, so the judge, the IRS, rather than return the equipment, right away filed a countersuit and said, we want this filing thrown out as a bad faith filing. I didn't know what a bad faith filing was. I didn't know what a filing was. All I knew is they told me fill out this paper. I filled it out. And so the judge threw out the filing as a bad faith filing. It wasn't done properly. Threw it out. So bottom line is, we're not bankrupt. We weren't bankrupt. It's a technique that many people use, perfectly fine, to negotiation tactic as well as all it was, and it's still on the internet. 6 years later?
Yeah. Now, what exactly are they trying to say about this bankruptcy decision?
Well, first place, I wonder, what does that have to do with creation and evolution?
First of all, yeah, it's true. It has absolutely nothing to do with it.
Right.
The subject that we discuss, yeah.
So, secondly, that's all it was. It was a battle with the IRS, which is fine. As far as I know, the IRS is leaving me alone. They haven't bothered me in years. And so,
like it that way.
I expect them to obey the law, and I try to obey the law. If I'm doing something wrong, let me know. Okay?
Now, many people say that you filed bankruptcy to get out of paying taxes. What do you have to say about that?
No, I'm not trying to get out of any tax. I think everybody should pay. If you owe it, you ought to pay it.
I agree.
I've got the tax books right there. There are probably 140 tax laws that have been passed by Congress. If you're involved in this activity, you must pay this tax. If I'm involved in a taxable activity, I pay the tax. I buy a bottle of water, there's probably, 30 or 40 taxes by the time it gets to my table.
So you do pay your taxes?
I pay any tax? Oh, sure.
You do pay what you owe.
And all these websites that are accusing me of not paying taxes, you people that are listening there, should require them to show me which law I'm violating.
Show you what tax you should be paying?
I'm not breaking any laws. They make a generic claim, and then how do you defend against something like that? Show me which law. There's a law that requires people who manufacture alcohol, tobacco, and firearms to pay a tax on that. I don't make any alcohol, tobacco, or firearms, so I don't pay the tax. There's a law that says if you manufacture truck and bus chassis in Guam, you have to pay. You're taxable. I've never been to Guam, and I sure don't manufacture truck and bus chassis in Guam. There's a law that says if you mine coal underground in the Virgin Islands, you got to pay a tax on that. I've never been to the Virgin Islands, and I don't mine coal there. So, yes, so the people who are saying I don't pay my taxes are either confused about the law or they're deliberately lying because it's absolutely not true.
Resorting to an ad hominem attack is
it's unrelated to the subject, and it's not true.
A debate, and it's not very wise.
And if they're going to accuse me of not paying some kind of tax, I want them to show me the law. I'm very familiar with the law, and I can assure you I will comply.
Now, one of the websites that has to do with this is talkorigins.org, and you're going to say something
that's
about
what I was. Talk Origins claims to be a news group for specifically the creation evolution. They're trying to educate people on the creation evolution controversy. Why they have that on there, I have no idea.
What does it have to
exactly?
Talk Origins,
because personal information or the history of Dr. Hovind or what he's been through really has nothing that relates to the controversy itself. And they claim to be an unbiased, party. So, again, why they have that on there, I'm clueless.
Plus, keep in mind, just because somebody is accused of something, this is trial by media, is what it is. Okay, Jesus was accused, convicted, and sentenced over nothing. He didn't do anything wrong.
He was innocent.
Right, he was innocent. So people get accused of things all the time, and it doesn't mean anything. So it doesn't prove anything. I've never been convicted of any crime. Been convicted of a few driver's license. A few speeding tickets, and I paid them. Yeah. I've never been convicted of any crime.
Like my dad.
And so,
unfortunately, I'm trying to work on that. Mom didn't like that too much.
Jehu in the Bible driveth furiously. My favorite character.
Great.
See, there you go.
It's legal. Not legal. It's biblical. Next point of discussion. Now that the bankruptcy, I think we got that cleared up.
If
honestly, not that we even need to clear that up. Yeah.
Well,
it doesn't.
If somebody's not happy with my answer, if some atheists are not happy, tell them to call into the program 877-479-DINO, 877-479-DINO, or 850-479-DINO. If they're not going to call in and give me a chance to defend myself, then tell them to remove that stuff off their website. They're either confused or they're lying. Take it off the website.
Exactly. Okay? Next thing to talk about is Kent Hovind's $250,000 award to Proof of Evolution. Doc, I'm ready to see the check. I'd like to see the check for $250,000.
Well, I got $23.
Dr. Hovind, do you have the money?
I don't have to have the money.
Dr. Hovind,
no, I don't have the money.
Dr. Hovind, do you have... I'd like to know what bank account the money is in.
This is the kind of stuff we get.
I need to know where the money is at.
It's in my...
I have some proof right here. I'd like to show it to you.
It's under my mattress. It's under my mattress.
Really, that's the way they argue with you, isn't it? They call in, they write in, they say, where's the money? We say, where's the proof? They say, where's the money? We say, where's the proof? They say, where's the money?
Here's the situation.
Where's the proof? Then they say, oh, he doesn't want proof. Oh, he wouldn't accept my proof. Oh. They get all stirred up over it, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
How many websites have that, Jonathan, about the $250,000 offer?
Every one of them.
Every one of them. Nearly 1,000. I'm not sure there's 1,000, but it's getting close.
I even read... Well, go ahead and tell them about the proof, and I wanted to look up what...
I started years ago offering $1,000 for anybody with any proof for evolution. Then we raised it to $10,000. Then a friend of mine called and said, hey, I got plenty of money. Let's make it $250,000. I said, okay, if you're backing me up. So the money is legitimate. He's got way more than that. Won't be a problem. Okay, he can sell He sold his Humvee. He got a $100,000 Humvee when I was out there visiting him. I mean, it had everything on it you can imagine and stuff I never knew they had on Humvees, you know. That's just one of many, many vehicles. Okay, so not a problem. We'll get the money. So the offer is for empirical evidence for evolution. Our contention is evolution is one of the dumbest and most dangerous religions in the history of the world. It's a dumb idea, and it's certainly not scientific. So we want people to be able to prove evolution is true. You're telling us we came from a big bang 20 billion years ago. You're telling us in the textbooks, they're all right here. You're telling us that, you know, the Earth cooled down 4.6 billion years ago. It rained on the rocks for millions of years, turned them into soup, and the soup came alive 3 billion years ago. And this first life form found somebody to marry, or good trick, and something to eat, of course, and slowly evolved into everything we see today. I think the whole story is a fairy tale. It's retarded, but if they want to believe it, that's fine. But they don't just want to believe it. They want everybody to believe it. That's probably fine too. Okay, everybody tries to spread their religion. I'm trying to spread mine. But they want me to pay to help spread their religion. Oh, now we got a problem. Okay, and they want to do it in the public school system at taxpayer expense. Now we really got a problem. So I said, unless you can give some empirical scientific proof for evolution, just take it out of the textbooks. It's not part of science. It goes in a religion class or in a fairy tale class or in a private school. But it's got no business being taught at taxpayer expense in public schools.
Now, this particular website that I'm looking at is austarnet.com, austarnet.com.au/steer/Kent Hovind's phony challenge.
Okay.
Anyway, talking about a man named Kevin who asked for 555 days to prove, according to biology, that that dogs and bananas were related. The article goes on to explain that dogs and bananas, are related.
I remember this one. He had emailed me and said they never send the proof in. They always, say where's the bank, what bank account's it in, who's in charge of the, what committee, et cetera, who's on the committee, what's their address. Anything they can to stall to not send the evidence. Okay, where's the beef? Where's the evidence for evolution? So this guy had said, exactly what do you mean by evolution? I said, well, I think the offer is pretty self-explanatory. It names the 6 different types of evolution that are taught in the textbooks, and I think, if you want me to pay for it, you need to prove all 6, basically. And he says, well, how about if I just prove, different species are related? I said, okay, well, to make it simple, let's just delineate 2. Evolution theory teaches all life forms came from a rock. I'm going to make it easy on you. I just want you to prove, was it dogs and bananas? I think I said...
Right, dogs and bananas. Yeah.
Yeah, I just picked out of the clear blue sky. I said, I want you to prove dogs and bananas are related. If you want to believe dogs and bananas are related, that's perfectly fine. I don't care what you believe. But don't call it science. Don't even call it common sense, okay? Anybody dumb enough to believe that needs help, and that's why we're here. We're here to help. So what's he grabbing about the offer now?
Yeah, so he's saying that Kevin, came to you. He said, I've almost got this after almost 550 days. He almost had the project complete, and you said there's a judge that would be a good decision maker on this. He could check it out. He's complaining that, he said, what does this judge have to do with, does he have an expert in biology or anything like that? Or why would he make a good person to judge the decision?
Well, I called probably 20 people that are scientists that are top in their field that most of whom I've never met. I think I've met 1 or 2 of them, actually. 11 of I told them what I was doing. I was going to offer $250,000 for proof of evolution and asked if they would be willing to be on a committee to judge the validity of anything that comes in. They said, 11 of them said, sure, we'll do that. So one guy sent in something which was relatively dumb, and I knew this is retarded. This is not, he didn't read the offer. This is not me. But I sent it on to the 11 people and sent him a list of all their names and addresses and said, I sent this to these people, and they're going to, return. Oh, his deal was giant strawberries, the big double-sized strawberries, polyploidy, is proof for evolution because they have double the number of chromosomes. Okay.
So it's a strawberry now.
And it used to be
what did he start with?
Probably a strawberry, but see, that proves it came from a rock. After all, it's twice as big and twice the chromosome. So I sent it to the committee, and I made the mistake of sending all their names and addresses to this guy. He then, of course, a couple of them wrote back. Most of them thought it was dumb, probably didn't even answer it, because it is dumb. Okay. A couple of them wrote back to him and said, no, polyploidy. One of them wrote a very nice answer, which I've got in my computer here, saying, no, sorry, this is polyploidy is a doubling of existing information. It does nothing for the strawberry other than it doesn't taste as good. It's bigger.
Well, it hurts the strawberry. I mean, it's better for us, but may not be better for the strawberry.
Since they sell it by the quart, which is a volume, it's better for the farmer.
Exactly. It's better for the people.
But it doesn't taste as good. But there's no new information added. It's a doubling of information. So the guy wrote back, and then this guy spent the next, several months writing everybody on the committee horrible emails, sending them pornography, sending them all kinds of stuff, really bothering them, These guys are scientists who want to do their job, okay? They don't want to be bothered by idiots who have nothing else to do. So I wrote to them all, said, I am so sorry. I will not give your names out again, because there are people out there who have nothing else to do except, hassle Christians. John, you see that on the internet, right, with people that...
All the time.
This guy spent 555 days writing up an article, and what was his evidence? I don't think he ever sent it. He kept complaining about who's on the committee.
Never sent any evidence.
If I recall, Kevin is all I know. Yeah. He never sent any evidence at all. They don't. There is no evidence for evolution. If they want to believe there is, great. Send it to me. I've done 4 debates now, and I'll be glad. I got one more next week up in Arkansas, and I think 3 more coming up in the next few months on the website. Go to drdino.com and check out our itinerary. I'll be glad to come debate any professor, anytime, in front of any university, if it meets my schedule, of course. I keep a busy schedule. But that's...
Then they say, they try to make you look even worse, Dr. by saying, well, now he's really changed his offer from what it originally was. Now he's not even going to send the evidence. If you do send in evidence, he's not even going to send it on to the judges until he filters it himself.
Well, this first place is not correct. If you really send evidence, I would send it on to the judge.
How many people have actually sent in evidence to you, or what they consider evidence?
I think 5, if I recall.
Total of 5.
Maybe 6. I don't know. I can go back and look.
How many years have you been doing
About 12. This for 250,000. It started 1,000 14 years ago.
Don't you think if there really was some proof, people really would be sending that in more than just 6?
They all gripe about some detail in the offer. Where's the bank account, stuff like that. Okay, it's good. My word is good. Okay, I'll sell something. I'll sell my son if I have to.
You're not going to get that much.
Not going to get $250,000.
Maybe a nickel.
That'll be 50. Okay. After the break, we'll talk more about some of the Antehoven websites and take your calls. Call in, folks. 479-DINO. 850-479-DINO. After the break. Welcome back, folks, to the Creation Science Hour. This is the final segment. If you want to call in, 850-479-DINO, or AOL Instant Message us. What is it again? You never forget.
Dr. Dino Live.
Dr. Dino Live. Screen name. Okay. We're answering some of the Antehoven websites. We're going to try to finish this in a couple more programs and then be done. Offer this as a package if folks want to buy the video or audio of all this stuff. Okay, get this guy's challenge here.
We're back on. We're still discussing this bogus challenge idea. That Dr. Hoven's challenge is a bogus idea. What that is a $250,000 offer for evidence of evolution.
Right.
Empirical, scientific evidence, real stuff.
Where's the beef?
Stuff that we can see.
Not theoretical. Well, it could have happened, might have happened. Give me enough time, I want to see it. Science is things we can see and observe and test and demonstrate. We don't do any of that with evolution. Evolution's not even a part of science. It's a religion.
Everything that's been written about this challenge and what makes it bogus is nothing to do with evidence. It's all to do with how the challenge is brought forward.
Right. They gripe about the challenge. Look, if I'm offering the money, I can offer it any way I want.
Exactly.
Okay? If Kmart wants to offer, 2 for 1 prize, you buy 1 hot dog, you get another one free, and you say, well, I bought a hamburger. No, the prize is for hot dogs, okay?
Write a letter and complain to them. Put up a website,
right.
Okay?
Put up an anti-Kmart website. Right. Okay.
Here, got a couple of things highlighted here that you'd like to read and talk about.
Okay. There. This guy says the challenge is sinister. This is from Dr. Berend. It's a weird last name.
Wow.
This is from South
3 foot long last name.
Botswana. VLAARDINGERBROEK.
Valerenderberger.
Right. Anyway, who says the offer is bogus because he sent in information. Let's see. By the way, never did send any proof for evolution. More sinister is the revelation that he who has chosen the aforesaid committee, meaning me, will look at the evidence first and decide what submissions go to the committee at all, and to what members of the committee. Well, this is, I guess, partially correct. If somebody sends me, their evidence for evolution is obviously retarded, like, double-sized strawberries is proof we came from a rock, I'm not going to bother sending that to the committee. One guy said, I've got proof for evolution. He said, we've developed soybean plants that are resistant to frost, totally new species. I said, that's good. I said, what'd you start with? He said, soybean plants. I said, oh, what do you have now? He said, a new species. I said, of what? A soybean plant. Oh, that's proof we came from a rock, all right. I mean, I don't know if I can help somebody like that, but I'm sure not going to waste time of these scientists who have agreed to be on the committee. I have them from many different fields of science, biologists, botanists, anthropologists. Many are not creationists. Some may be. I don't know. I've only met one of them. But
Now,
we'll send it.
There may be some evolutionists out there right now saying there is lots of evidence of evolution.
Show it to me.
What are they looking at? When they say there's lots, in their mind, there really is lots of evidence.
Because they're looking at variations within the kind. They see dogs and wolves having a common ancestor. I agree.
So we would agree with that 100%?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
That's why I distinguish on the website, drdino.com, look at the $250,000 offer. It's not for what we call microevolution, which is a lousy term.
Yes.
It's microevolution is just a variation within the kind. I want some real evidence for the rest of the theory. Where's the beef? There is none.
So that's one of the things is, first of all, if you're out there and you're saying there's lots of evidence of evolution, first of all, is it evidence of microevolution, simple, small variations within a kind that in your mind or in people's minds or in the books, they extrapolate out and say these little changes are going to equal big changes.
Right.
And we don't want to see the little changes, we want to see the big change, right?
Right. And they don't understand that the little changes don't add up to big changes. Okay. Any farmer can tell you, you may get a special breed of cow or corn or whatever you're growing on your farm that fits your area well, but the further you get away from the norm, the more problems you have. Okay. It's not evolution. It's a variation of a kind, and you start to get problems. Okay. Then they write, they want to know about the applicability of the term peer review to the committee. It says, who's on these committee? And their impartiality, in other words, they must not be professing creationists. Think about this.
Yeah.
If they're professing creationists, they are therefore biased. So if they're all professing evolutionists, are they not biased? Hello?
They're going to be one or the other.
Sure. Yeah, everybody's got an opinion on this subject.
Yeah.
They believe God did it or nobody did it. And so I've said several times, I don't know if they're creationists or not. Okay? It wouldn't matter, though, if they're a scientist and they're trained in their field. Their opinion would be legitimate. I want to know what they say. But see, this is common. To an evolutionist, they think if a person doesn't believe in evolution, their opinion doesn't matter. This is Soviet style. Okay? In the Soviet Union, if a teacher got up and said, "Hey kids, I don't think communism works. Capitalism is a better system." Well, they'd be off in Siberia someplace if they survived. And then the teachers get up and say, all teachers believe in communism. Well, of course, because look what happens if you don't. Look what happens if you don't, sure. For 3 weeks, I ran an advertisement under announcements in the online Pensacola City News, labeled Attention Hovind's Expert Committee. There has not been a single response.
That proves they don't exist.
That proves they don't exist. He ran an ad in the Pensacola News Journal, Attention Hovind's Committee. And nobody responded, so that's proof they don't exist. This person needs help, okay? I don't think any of them are from Pensacola, actually. I don't think any of them are from Florida, if I recall. I go back and look at the list. But so if you ran an ad in Pensacola News Journal and said, where's the committee, and nobody responded, that's evidence they don't exist. Jonathan, how do you help somebody like that?
Okay. Well, it's been fun talking about that $258,000 offer. We got a few minutes here. A lot of people out there, Dad, are wondering about this guy named Boudica with the 300 lies.
Boudica. Ian Wood. Ian Wood. He finally told me his name after, 6 months of writing back and forth. I shouldn't have answered him the first time. Well, I have a policy to not answer anonymous cowards, okay? But I made the mistake. He wrote this big anonymous letter, calling me all sorts of names, and I said, so I answered. And he wrote it again, and I answered again. And then I said, look, I normally don't deal with anonymous people. Who are you? And then he got upset because I wouldn't answer. I said, I'm not going to answer you anymore unless I know who I'm talking to. And here's what he said. Boudica said, let's see, where is that article about that? You have it? No, there's another one where Boudica had said, Kent Hovind wanted to know who I was, where I lived, basically everything about me. I have it right here. Okay.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah. He insisted, Boudica, Budikka, at AOL.com. Boudica said, Hovind insisted on knowing who I was and where I live, basically wanting my entire personal life to be revealed. Boudica, I just wanted your name, okay? I didn't ask for any of that stuff. You're lying, okay? I never asked for any of that stuff.
Wow.
Talk about the lies of Boudica here. So he said, he wrote 300 lies of Kent Hovind, creationist, and wanted to get me into a big email debate, and then said, Hovind refuses to have an email debate. Hovind refuses to debate. I've always refused email debates. I don't have time. I don't even answer my own email. I have a secretary full-time. All she does is answer email.
A couple hundred emails that come in. Wow.
Every day. So, no, I don't even answer email anymore. They hand them to me, and I get phone calls by the bazillions, and
Got a couple minutes left here. Go ahead and talk about what he says.
Boudica says he said nobody would debate him. This one guy debated him. It went for how long, Jonathan?
Fred Williams, from the owner and maintainer of EvolutionFairyTale.com, actually debated Boudica.
EvolutionFairyTale.com.
The debate lasted over 3 months.
3 months. He slaughtered Boudica.
It was pathetic.
Okay, go to EvolutionFairyTale.com and read the debate there, and then everybody that signed in to the guest book, Boudica started spamming them. Right, Jonathan? Tell us a story about that.
Well, according to this, there's an evolutionist, so you might actually want to read part of that article.
Well, yeah, Geocities.com, anti-Boudica spam. This is an evolutionist. He says, this site has been erected as a warning to other Internet users involved in the creation-evolution debate. If you ignore this warning, you may find your email box filled with hate-filled, rude messages from an Internet character called Boudica, a.k.a. Ian Wood. This all started at a site called EvolutionFairyTale.com. Boudica issued a challenge to the owner of the site for a debate. The owner wasted no time in accepting the challenge, and the debate was on. When the debate was finished, it was clearly evident that Boudica had lost. His true colors began to really shine through. People who signed the Evolution Fairy Tale guest book soon found their inboxes filled with spam from this Boudica character. Boudica challenged each and every person to continue with him the debate that he'd already lost. When people refused to debate, Boudica became angry. Soon it got so far out of hand, I knew I had to intervene before Boudica did something drastic and hurt somebody. I emailed Boudica. I offered to him the opportunity to debate me where he and Fred had left off. I'm a hardcore evolutionist, by the way, but I don't like people like Boudica who feel they need to force their beliefs on others. After several email exchanges, Boudica and I agreed to debate on Bible myths of Noah's flood. We agreed on a size limit, and Boudica agreed to go first. The entire time I was laughing because I knew I had no intention of answering Boudica's opening argument. I could just picture the little prat spending days behind his computer, wasting his time. I could just picture him working out every little detail, making a perfect opening argument just to go to waste. What a loser Boudica really is. About a month went by, and Boudica didn't hear a peep from me. Soon he emailed me and told me if I didn't answer his opening argument, that I would automatically forfeit the debate. I returned his email and told him what a sucker he is, and that he had just wasted his time. So Boudica the spammer was finally put in place. Of course, the spamming didn't stop there. Just visit the guest book and make a procreation posting along with your email address, and I'll bet you anything, you will receive hate-filled emails from Boudica. So this is Geocities.com, anti-Boudica spam. This is an evolutionist site who says, Boudica, shut up, go away. Okay.
An evolutionist is defending Dr. Hovind.
And here's, is Kent Hovind a liar too? From Ian Wood, Boudica at AOL.com. They bash me for all sorts of things.
By the way, that's his email address.
Yeah, Boudica at AOL.com.
Feel free to email Boudica. He's done it to many others. Boudica, if you're out there,
forward all your spam to
Forward
Boudica.
it on, buddy. Forward it on. Ian, what is it?
Ian Wood. He says,
Boudica at AOL.com.
He says, I have never yet found a creationist who's willing to debate me on the internet. Well, Boudica, you're lying. Okay, the one guy did and slaughtered you. I'm not willing to debate anybody on the internet. Okay, I'm willing to debate you live in front of any university, anytime, anywhere, with half
even
my
on
brain.
The phone.
On the phone. Call in. Radio program.
You're scared to look at us?
I'm paying for this program, so I'll pay. I'm paying for the phone call. Toll free.
877-479-3466.
He says, during the time, Boudica says, I emailed Hovind with comments. His responses from the very first were routinely patronizing and insulting. Never at any time has he attempted to address any of the serious problems that have been exposed in his material. Boudica, first place, I don't care what you think, okay? I got other things to do. I could care less what you think or say or write. Doesn't matter to me. You have no effect on me. Zero. It doesn't matter. Secondly, there are no serious problems in my material that I'm aware of. I get plenty of criticism, and I read through your criticism and thought, this guy needs help, you know? I guessed he was probably a 9th grader trying to become famous, who just learned how to use the computer and is, wanting to make a name for himself by, calling Kent Hovind a liar.
Do you know what some of his lies have to do with here? I mean, instead of just attacking him, what exactly does he talk about?
He sent me the list of all 300. I read through it and I thought, has he seen my seminar? I addressed nearly all of these things in my seminar.
Okay.
So if you read that, we only got a few minutes left in this program. If you read his 300 lies and any of them bother you,
he's got them there on the internet. So
none of them are here on this list.
He took Jonathan 6 months to build that website or something?
It took a little over 6 months for him to compile this creationist 300 lies that Dr. Hovind has apparently said.
See, He has nothing else to do. I have things to do, okay?
I actually sat down one time to write a rebuttal to the majority of them, and it's been probably 2 months now, and I have 9 of them done because we are so busy around here.
Yeah.
And he expects you to sit down and do it.
You know, if you read the book of Nehemiah, they tried to stop Nehemiah from building the wall. They tried everything. Finally, they said, come on down here to the plain of Ono and let's talk about this. And he said, look, I'm doing a great work for the Lord. I don't have time to bother with you guys. No, I'm not going to come down to Ono and talk to you. Read Nehemiah.
Yeah.
We're building a work here. We got plenty to do.
All they're trying to do is distract.
How far behind are you on your list of things to do?
I got plenty of stuff to do.
I am hopelessly behind. I'm going to die on my tombstone. You know, he didn't get it all done. My secretary's going to hand a stack of emails and messages and lay them on my tombstone. Here, Hovind, finish these while you're resting. So
at least you finally will be resting at one time.
Hopefully, right.
Try to make that the last thing you do. Okay?
I will. So Boudica said, he asked a question. Can you explain scientifically what is the biological or genetic mechanism which permits all manner of variation within a kind, but somehow slams the door shut on the kind barrier, preventing one kind from varying into another kind? Boudica, I don't think anybody knows what the genetic barrier is. There certainly is some barriers that are pretty obvious. I don't think we know enough about the gene code to know this, but for instance, the number of chromosomes prevents many things from crossbreeding. Penicillin, which has 2 chromosomes, cannot crossbreed with dogs, which have 78. Okay? Humans have 46. They cannot crossbreed with dogs, which have 78. So there's obviously a genetic barrier. Whether I completely understand it or not, I don't know. I don't think anybody understands what the barrier is. But I think it's pretty obvious to a 5-year-old what most animals that belong to the same kind. A dog and a wolf are the same kind. A dog and a pine tree are not.
We're probably going to have to wrap this up on Boudica here because we are running out of time. We've got about 1 minute left here. Final thoughts on the show. Actually, we got to end. We will see you tomorrow to talk more about Kent
Go to DrDino.com or come visit us. We'd love to have you.
Creation versus evolution.